What makes a hero? For starters, a hero has to have great talent and unquestionable patriotism. He must serve and protect humanity until his very last breath. Chiseled good looks are optional because it's the hero that makes the abs, not the other way around. Another thing is most heroes are ordinary. Until they aren't. Then they gain powers, crawl dungeons, destroy all threats to humanity, and become their people's beacon of pride and hope and all that good stuff. Cue the credits. Time for the next anime. This, however, isn't a typical hero saves the world story. Breathing heavily, a hooded man climbs a snow-capped mountain and heads towards a ruined castle. As he makes it through the gates, he notices some creatures repairing the area and remembers the fierce battle he had with them. He continues his path to the ruined throne room where the demon queen Echidna and her Elite Four await him. But the queen is in for the shock of her life when the man reveals himself to be Leo Demonheart, the hero who vanquished the demon army. And he's not here for a rematch, no. He's here for a job? That's right. Leo wants to join the demon's ranks. The Elite Four are flabbergasted by his announcement, though one of them looks pretty stoked to see Leo. And like any good candidate, he presents his resume to them. He can do it all. Excellent swordsmanship, black magic, holy magic. Oh, it's magic. Leo also boasts of having defeated Queen Echidna on a 1-1-1 battle, which of course irks the queen. He then tries to convince them that he'll be able to help the demon army regain their losses, seeing as he's the one who brought about those losses in the first place. Leo ends his speech, confident that he'll be accepted for sure. But joke's on him, Queen Echidna just burns him to ashes. He keeps trying to convince them again, and again, and again, even presenting them with statistical studies, but the queen just burns him to a crisp again. And again. And again. But how did all this beef come to be? A year ago, Echidna led the demon army in an attack against the human world. The kingdom's knight, together with other elites from different cities, set off to take down the demon army. The knight was unmatched. He wielded weapons and magic like a virtuoso. He was a killing machine. His own skill rendered the other members of his party as burdens since unlike him, they can't do everything, so in the end, he traveled alone and single-handedly defeated the demon army. That man is the same Leo Demonheart, who's currently pleading to join the defeated army. Since the queen won't budge, he turns to the Elite Four, flat out begging to have an audience with them. He asks them why on earth would they reject him when he's so strong and doesn't need any useless teammates to save the world 5 times over. To this, the Red Roar, Dragon General, Edvard, says that it's probably because of his personality. Leo retorts that he's a changed man, to which the Ruthless Fang, Beast General Lily happily agrees. The Invisible Blade, Shadowless General, Melms, reprimands Lily's enthusiasm. Leo then notes the Elite Four's diversity, and with their meeting dragging out, the Sorcerer General Shutina wants Leo to cut to the chase. So in his calm and proud self, the former hero answers that he wants to give them a presentation. He'll illustrate how he defeated each of them, which he believes should make up for his troublesome personality. An amused Edvard lets out a roaring laugh, commenting that it's been a long while since he's lost a head-to-head battle. Though Shutina doesn't believe that a loss should be celebrated, Edvard thinks that the ability to fight a strong opponent is something to be happy for. Remembering Edvard as the first out of the Elite Four to fight him, Leo calls him the strongest of the four, especially with his physique. His dragon scales made him harder to defeat, so Leo focused more on magic than sword fighting. If Edvard didn't fight fair and have a straightforward approach to battling, Leo could have lost. Though Edvard's a strong contender for world ruler, he believes that fighting strong opponents as a swordsman suits him better. Besides, if he were king, then he'll have no time to talk with his beloved daughter, Julieta. But since Melms is a hater, he calls Edvard pathetic when it comes to his daughter, saying traveling alone means there'd be a lack of friendship to cherish. Leo defends Edvard by telling the other general off, pointing out the fact that the dour and brooding Melms probably doesn't even have friends anyway. When Leo had the chance to fight Melms, he thought him to be a genius. As a half-human and half-demon raised by the Assassin Guild, Melms' ability to conceal his presence matched with his agility made him an impressive opponent. Leo would have lost the battle if they went on for another 5 minutes. Foregoing speed, he fortified his defense and casted the forbidden spell, Crimson Comet. The attack destroyed the guild they were in, infuriating the townsfolk as it was a cultural heritage site. After triumphing over Melms, Leo had the weirdest encounter with Lily. He found her looking like a lost little kid, which she was. Girl didn't have her memories at all. Feeling sorry for her, he helped her settle down, but after clumsily tripping on even ground, Lily regained her memories. The Beast General attacks him, only to, you guessed it, get her tush handed to her. Unfortunately for Leo, being defeated by the opposite gender in her race equated to a fated encounter with their partner. So right then and there, she wanted to marry Leo. The last general Leo had to battle was Shutina, who had the greatest magical power among them. She's mastered every spell possible. Ancient, forgotten. You want it. She's got it. And so, Leo decided to use an ancient spell that would seal off both his and Shutina's magic, forcing them to engage in melee combat. Sort of. Shutina sucks at getting physical, so she just hit Leo for about 2 minutes before crying pitifully. Finally, this equally pitiful montage comes to an end when Shutina demands Leo to cut to the chase. Why is he, the great hero, there for a recruitment interview? Everyone awaits Leo's answer as he takes a painful trip down memory lane. After emerging as the victor from his battle with Queen Echidna, Leo returned to the holy city of Renais, expecting a hero's welcome. But he got neither cheers nor generous rewards from the king. He didn't even get a thank you. What he got was everyone avoiding him like the plague, like a murderer. They were all hostile and fearful of their supposed hero, the man who single-handedly thwarted the demon army's forces. After all, who else but a monster would be able to do that? How can they trust Leo to not destroy their world with the very hand he saved it with? The people Leo stuck his neck for are now thinking of him as the very next demon king. Everyone agreed that he had to be exiled before harm comes upon them. He even faced assassination attempts, which only frustrated him further. With fury-tinted ease, he crushed all who dared to even try. The king soon summoned him, and though he acknowledged that they were able to protect the Philosopher's Stone because of Leo, he couldn't ignore the people's pleas for his banishment. Leo accepted this, and he left the ungrateful country with one question: why? Why did he risk his life to protect this world? Why did he spend all that time forging a hero out of himself? Everything felt futile, and he aimlessly wandered between different cities. But one day, he heard of the rumors about the demon army recruiting people so they could rebuild their forces. As people sarcastically insulted the demon kingdom, especially their queen, Leo felt that the demon army is the only place where he will be understood and accepted. Ignited with a new sense of purpose, he spent the night thinking about how he should introduce himself and plead his case. He made all the reports, walked past the endless desert, and over the snow-capped mountains. If the world wants to kill me, then I'll kill the world instead. These are the words the reproachful Leo ended his story with. Now knowing where he's coming from, the generals finally accept him. But he'll have to undergo a probationary period with Shutina as his direct supervisor. If Mr. Demonheart can produce positive and quantifiable results within his probation period, the Elite Four will convince Queen Echidna to accept him. Otherwise, they'll want to see him out that door, baby bye bye bye. Also, the Queen mustn't know about his presence, so he needs to use magic or any other tool necessary to conceal his identity. Simple stuff. What isn't simple though is the long list of things he needs to help with, and boy, it's a lot. Lily cheerfully comments that she has it hard too since she's assigned with handling the army's logistics. Wait. Pardon, ma'am? Leo is stunned by this, and he stares at the other generals in disbelief while they casually pretend that they don't feel his gaze on them. They really assigned the most important task to a kid who trips over flat surfaces. But seeing as all this is Leo's fault, he shouldn't be one to complain. Beyond this, Leo has another goal in mind. He recalls that Queen Echidna sternly prohibited her army from unnecessarily killing and violating any humans, which put her army in a disadvantage. He wants to know why she did that, and why she chose to stay in the human world after experiencing defeat. The next day, Leo gets up early to wake up a tired Shutina. Seeing that her room is locked, he uses magic to open her door. Leo uses his voice-changing magic so he can sound like Queen Echidna and order Shutina out of bed. Being the consummate professional that she is, a very groggy Shutina promptly sits up and gives her status report. Still using Echidna's micromanaging and should learn to delegate the workload to those she can trust. When Shutina finally looks up, she realizes that it's just Leo, talking to her while she's in her 90s. She blasts him with ice magic that he skillfully dodges. But the attacks caused a huge ruckus that wakes up the real Queen Echidna, who first thought they were being invaded but spots a huge glacier coming out of her general's room. She pities the sorcerer, thinking that Shutina's just having a nightmare from her excessive workload. Then lessen it, maybe. Dunno, just a thought. While Leo's dodging her attacks, he mentally notes the demon army's lack of personnel after his highly destructive attack on them. Most of their top brass had to return to the demon world for recuperation, thus shifting their workload towards the remaining generals. Nobody really knew the ins and outs of it except Shutina herself. Think of it as a big company. Senior employees like Shutina can handle work easily, but they seldom have the time to either write a manual or train others to do tasks. Then cue in the employer. In this world, that's Queen Echidna, who wants to achieve refortification ASAP. You mash the two together and you get an overworked and sleep-deprived staff. As for Leo, since man's maxed out his audacity stat too, he tells Shutina that she should be nice to him since he's only there to help. Oh, and since she's a succubus, shouldn't she like him barging into her room while she's sleeping? Boy, sweet boy. After that morning's ruse, Leo's delegated to mana replenishment duty. Normally, no one but Shutina can do this since she's the one who created the reactors and one has to have the same mana wavelength as the reactor's creator to replenish it. Luckily, Leo's a confident go-getter who doesn't have the word impossible in his dictionary. He bumps into a worried-looking fellow named Dianette, who immediately runs off as soon as she sees him. Somewhere else in the castle, Queen Echidna calls on the remaining 3 generals to express her worries about Shutina's odd behavior. She wants to help her, but Melns counters that doing so will only stress out Shutina more. 30 minutes later, Leo comes back and adopts a formal style of speech while greeting Shutina so he can blend in better. He's already finished his task, then tells Shutina off when she decided to give him another one, saying that he's tired from adjusting his mana wavelength to match hers to replenish the reactors. Alas, what was supposed to be a little break turned into a big one as he keeps refusing to get back to work since it's been such a while since he used Metamorphose and the demon food is so bland. Of course, hearing these irks Shutina by making himself heavy using Gravity Root, super cool name. Should he go with Lord Godheart or Blood's Wrath? Or maybe something unique like Black Knight Onyx? Me personally, I think X_Knight_of_DeathX has a nice ring to it. As for his new boss, she's beyond pissed. She calls him a worthless, lazy leech of time and resources while calmly summoning her Radiant of Light, filling her hand with the piercing rays of the gods. But before she can chickenbone Leo, a knock on the door interrupts them, much to Leo's relief. Despite spending the past hour or so lazing around, he inwardly expresses his determination to get on the general's good side. And this, right here, is step 1. He quickly uses Metamorphose and in goes Dianette, who Leo congratulates on a job well done. He also instructs her to address him as Black Knight Onyx henceforth. Through Dianette's report, Shutina learns that she's the one who replenished the mana reactors, much to her surprise. It should be impossible since Dianette can't match Shutina's mana, so she continues with her report and shows the talisman she's wearing. Leo takes over from here and explains that he procured an amethyst from a goblin goldsmith, then filled the amethyst with mana tuned to Shutina's wavelength. This allows anyone holding it on their person to be attuned to Shutina's mana indefinitely. He then sought out Dianette to give her the talisman and instruct her to form a team of 4 who can handle the replenishment duty. Something that Shutina has been doing all by herself. Apparently, the younger sorcerer has been worried about Shutina's health all this time and has been wanting to help. With Leo's ingenious leadership and delegation, she can now lessen the general's burden. Teary-eyed, Shutina thanks Dianette for her concern and hard work. Now, all Shutina has to do is trust her subordinates and listen to their reports. She should only get involved if something goes wrong. If Leo had told her about his plan earlier, she would have worriedly rushed to go check on Dianette. Still, she chides Leo for slacking off while Dianette was doing his job. In turn, he produces a new task list with the list of priorities already arranged. He did this while observing Shutina's cleavage work. All that's left for our busybody to do is to delegate tasks. Impressed and grateful, she sincerely apologizes for misjudging him. Now that she's seen the Black Knight's passion and determination for the job, she says that she looks forward to working with him. Ever the sly one, Leo remembers what he said after she gave him the task. Since he did such a good job, he happily how to do the job right. He's a devastating loss to the human kingdom, but if they're going to turn their back on him, he's going to turn his back on them, too. Hopefully, he's made the right call, partaking in the demon kingdom. With Shutina on his side, that's 1 down and 3 generals to go. Thanks for watching this recap, see you on the next one. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to ES Anime if you haven't already. Bye!